The steel cage match is back. Well, not really back, but All Elite Wrestling just had their first one, and I think myself and a lot of fans got a massive kick out of it simply because we hadn't seen a cage match in AEW before. Yeah, I know. It didn't look massively different to ones we've seen before, but there were a few psychological things that All Elite Wrestling did do, which I believe brought it back up to prominence and made you go, oh my gosh, sometimes the simplest stuff is the best stuff. So I hope this has sent a message out to all wrestling companies, and of course the biggest one of all, known as WWE. Because yes, AEW just taught World Wrestling Entertainment a little bit of a lesson. Why? Ha! Here's why. The reason I was looking over there at the start of the video is why the hell not? Let us turn the clock back. SummerSlam 1994. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, one of the best cage matches in wrestling history. And they were able to do that with one traditional element taken away, and that, of course, was blood. Vince McMahon wasn't into blood. He saw it as a way just to repel sponsors. And to be fair, he wasn't wrong. When you find out what blading is, you are a bit like, oh my gosh, blading. Blading is crazy. I've known about blading for years, and I still can't believe it, but that was kind of a fresh, different perspective on a cage match, because if you watch any cage match from the 80s, everybody bleeds like they're an open wound. Pretty much Ric Flair all the time. So the Harts did have to come up with something new, and they did that thanks to an evolution of the rules, which was, hey, now you can escape the cage. And this worked oh so well, because Owen Hart was scrambling up the thing like a little cockroach trying to get out there. So you pointed at him like, you little cowardly heel, whereas Bret Hart, much like he executed all his maneuvers, just did it with a sense of power and a sense of pace. That just added to the drama in your guts. Over the years, though, this premise has been met with a raised eyebrow, because without the skill of Bret and Owen, all it took was a casual fan or a first-time viewer of wrestling to go, wait. So they're wrestling in this big steel structure because their feud has become so intense and so out of control that you need to lock them in like, this cage environment so they can actually find out who is the best, and you give them a rule of being able to climb over and just escape. And you as the hardcore wrestling fan has to go, look, it's just wrestling, don't worry about wrestling. When you look into wrestling too much, I know it's a pile of palaver. Look, I'm sorry I invited you around here. Please never watch wrestling again. So it becomes a whole thing, and that idea at its core is a little bit of a head scratcher. And if you need more evidence, Hell in a Cell 2019. I'll talk about it later. In fact, no, I will talk about it now, because the Hell in a Cell gimmick was a direct response to everything that was going wrong with the traditional cage, and my word, was it incredible when it first busted on the scene. Because the concept once again was, okay, well, even a cage, a normal cage, isn't enough to hold these two personalities in there, so we'll put them in a bigger cage and we'll call it Hell in a Cell. And it just added a whole new strain of storytelling to this stipulation contest. I mean, go back and watch Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from 1997. It is a 5-star classic. But look where that is now. Just look at it. Instead of this being the end or a culmination of a program, it even has its own pay-per-view. So you know, well, they're just going to take two people and throw them in there because we have to. If we don't, why the hell is it called Hell in a Cell to begin with? It's a marketing gimmick that is past its prime, and these days, more people get into the thing than stay out of there. So it is broken, often literally. And again, after what we did see last year, I don't even know what we're going to do in 2020. How can you save that mess? If you wanted to break it down further, you could say that this and the more traditional cage in the WWE have become nothing more than elaborate climbing contests. And while I have nothing against that on a greater level, when I get down into my bones, it does make me a little bit sad because we lost the magic. We lost what we once had. However, as we have already touched upon, sometimes what's old can become new again. And that is what AEW embraced recently when they did indeed have their first ever cage match. A first ever cage match that they have been promoting since January. It had like 8 weeks of build. If you give me 8 weeks build of anything, when I get to week 8, I am going to be desperate to see that. Even if it's like a little bug, a little fly, you told me, oh my gosh, in 8 weeks' time, this fly is going to do something incredible. On week 7, I'll be up at night like this, with my eyes open going, what the hell is that bug going to do? On top of that, look how this whole thing was pitched. It was the big hard dude who had never had a match in his life going against the ultimate babyface who desperately needs to win this so he can get his hands on his new nemesis. So it was a stepping stone for one of the best feuds in the whole company, but that just added an extra layer to it because you had that dick MJF on the outside just causing nonsense like he always does. I want to reiterate here, this isn't a WWE versus an AEW thing. It's just looking about how AEW has approached this concept from the off and actually seeing they've remembered why we all fell in love with the cage match to begin with. And if nothing else, there was a real undertone to all of this. Like, how brutal was Wardlow gonna be? How was Cody gonna stand up to this warrior? And was Mr. Rhodes going to die? And I understand having those kind of thoughts makes me an idiot, but did I actually have those thoughts? Yes, I did. I didn't know how far AEW were gonna push this. Don't forget what Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley did last year. And look, AEW did borrow a lot of things from their rivals as well. The cage was lowered down from the ceiling with ominous music playing, like bum 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 bum. When it got there, at least there was no potted plants attached to the sides. The message was, the cage is enough. As soon as the bell rang too and the announcers had made it very clear that there was only two ways to win this. One, pin the guy, or two, make the guy submit. There was a sense of dread. Cody couldn't run away and he was stuck in there with a piece of meat. And what happened when he did try and strike him down? Nothing. Wardlow just laughed it off. And now the story was simple. Cody was gonna have to survive. And of course, everybody here was able to benefit because Cody was allowed to get some blood on his head. But that just told the audience what was going on. The cage is hard, the cage is hurt. If you take somebody's head and ram it into the cage, yes, they will bleed and they will be in a lot of pain. So when Wardlow was hurling Cody's skull into all of that, you were like, is he trying to kill him? Is he actually trying to kill him? And maybe he was. And then, my word, we had the finish. Because after Cody had hit Wardlow with the crossroads and realized that's going to be enough, he did climb the cage, something we've already talked about a lot, but he did it for one simple reason. He had to try and stop this guy if he wanted to get to where he needed to be. And he hit that moonsault from the top, and oh my gosh, it blew my tiny little brain. So he risked his career, he risked his life, I suppose. And even when this was done, I didn't look at Wardlow and go, what a loser. He had his first match in AEW, and he couldn't even win because the drama and everything else was above all that. It was irrelevant, it didn't matter. The whole time, the Steel was pitched as the attraction too. So you also had a main event that didn't wear their audience out because you had to see 56,789 moves every single second. There was no need, just appreciate that bones and metal are a bad mix and you take it from there. And this isn't to say that WWE doesn't have good cage matches anymore. That is not what I'm getting at, although I will bring in a recent example when we saw The Miz and Shane McMahon in a steel cage. And how did Shane McMahon win? Because he climbed over the top rope. The Miz went to grab him, but because his clothes didn't fit properly, he was able to slip and squiggle away and fall to the floor. That doesn't make me fear the cage, that makes me fear Shane McMahon's tailor. So yeah, there you go, just a little thought I had in the shower because I am a wrestling nerd and these are the kind of things that entered my brain. If you don't agree with me and you think I'm wrong, that's cool, you're allowed your opinion, but I will win this argument with 4 simple words, or 5 simple words technically. Hell in a Cell 2019. That's way more than 5 years, but you take my point. You see what I'm saying. That's the direction that WWE decided to go in. Look, they still get loads right. I'm not saying that. But AEW, they look back to the past. They look back to history. They look back to tradition and remembered why people loved cage matches so much to begin with. And I hope it is a lesson that not only WWE learns, but that everybody doing this stipulation match takes on board and executes. It won't happen, but I've done my best. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this idea, and please don't turn it into WWE versus AEW. Look, I love both. I really do. I love Mondays, I love Wednesdays, and I love Fridays. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then go to whatculture.com and read yourself some more articles like this one. It's up there right now. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. Just click away. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching. I am indeed hungry, hence why now I'm just like wearing my emotions quite literally on my chest. And I was going to say, if I was going to talk to you about my favourite cage matches ever, I'm bringing the Hell in a Cell into this too. Yep, Undertaker versus Shawn from 97, Undertaker Mankind from 1998, because it's 22 years old and I still can't believe it. Triple H versus Steve Austin from 2001, that was incredible. Of course, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from SummerSlam 94. And then when Brock and Triple H had that bad one, I think it was Extreme Rules, that kicked ass. I'm sure there's more. Ric Flair was in loads of them. Pretty much any time Ric Flair was in a steel cage, and Dusty Rhodes, that rocked. Let me know in the comments. There's so many good steel cage matches, and this is why we need to bring it back up to where it once was.